Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. In this video, we'll try to understand the basics of the Apex cursor. We'll try to understand all the key things that you should be knowing about the Apex cursor along with the key limitations as well. We'll try to understand the syntax behind the Apex cursors as well. I will create few follow-up videos in which we will go over how you can use the Apex cursor for the pagination, and also you can use the Apex cursor in the asynchronous Apex as well. But the purpose of this video for you to understand what is Apex cursor, how you can use that cursor, what all the key limitations of the Apex cursor that you should be aware of. Before we get started, in case you folks like to have one-to-one connect with me, you can do that on the top mat. Once you go and click on the link available on the video description, you will have the option to go for the top mat where we can connect and you can discuss any type of Salesforce queries that you do have in your interview journey, or any type of support that your folks are looking for on the Salesforce. Moreover, you can also explore few of the detailed products which are available on my channel, like the admin guide or the LWC notes, interview notes, as well as the data cloud fundamentals notes as well. You can also explore few of the Udemy courses that I have recently published. The first one here is the real world project, where you will understand how to design and build a robust Salesforce application from the scratch using the automation of the complex processes and write down the complex codes, doing the integration stuff, writing down the asynchronous Apex, triggers, test classes, all in one. Moreover, you can also explore my data cloud consultant course, which will help you to understand the fundamentals from the absolute basics about the data cloud. With this course, you will understand all the key concepts of the data cloud, and also you will go over few hands-on scenarios which is inspired by the real-time Salesforce implementations as well. Now coming back to the Apex cursor, so let's try to understand first what is actually the Apex cursor. So Apex cursor are a new feature that allows you to process the large result set written from a SQL query in a customizable batches. Before we dive deeper, think about the typical scenarios where you use the batch Apex. For example, you use the batch Apex to process the large volume of data. Now, what limitations do you usually encounter whenever you are dealing with large data sets? Apex cursors are something which are designed to address some, if not all those, but most of the limitations that you do have while dealing with the large data set. You can handle it with the help of Apex cursor. Now the question comes, we already have the batch Apex to deal with the large data set. Why I should go for the Apex cursor? We know that SQL query returns a large data set and you want to process it in the form of the chunks, and that is where the Apex cursor are very useful. For example, you do have the millions of record and you want to process that record in the form of chunk, let's say 2000 records at a time, then again Apex cursors are very helpful. Today we get this done with the help of the batch Apex, but few things about the batch Apex. For example, batch Apex only works in a asynchronous way, but your Apex cursors can work in a synchronous way as well as in an asynchronous way. In the batch Apex, we typically use the database.getQuery locator in the start method, and then we go and configure the batch size. Now, whatever the batch size that we are putting, that batch size will be the same for all the batches. But again, that is not the case with the Apex cursor. You can definitely define the result set that you are looking for, and according to the result size or the batch size that you are defining, in that particular size, the data will be fetched. Another key difference here is, in the case of batch Apex, you can always go forward. For example, first you will be processing the first 2000 record, then you will be processing the next 2000 record, then you will be processing the next 2000 record. So you can always go in a forward way. But in the case of Apex cursor, you can go in the forward way as well as in the backward way as well. For example, let's say you have processed first 2000 record. Now you want to go and reprocess the first, let's say 1000 records one more time. Apex cursor do provide you the flexibility to go back and forth whenever you are traversing over the data as well. Now coming up to the syntax part, how you can go and put the syntax for the Apex cursor. To do this, here you have to go and use the get cursor method, and after that you will be writing down your SQL query based on which you want to go and fetch the data. So here, whatever the data that you are fetching, the data will be stored under the database.cursor variable. In the case of batch Apex, we use the database.getQueryLocator, but in the case of Apex Cursor, we have to use the database.getCursor, and my data will be available in this locator variable. Now from this locator variable, you can go and access the data by using the fetch method, where you have to go and define the two parameters. The first parameter here is the start position from where the data should be fetched, and the second parameter here is the number of records that you want to fetch. Key part that you have to remember, maximum value that you can specify here is the 2000. But these are the two parameters that you will be specifying. First one here is the start position, and second parameters are the number of records that you want to fetch. Another key point that you have to remember about the Apex cursor here is they are stateless and generate the result from the offset position that is specified in the cursor.fetch method. So whatever the position that you will be defining here, typically that many records will be fetched and will be stored into the variable. So it is very important that whenever you are working on the cursor, you will always keeping track of the start position so that you can fetch the correct list of records, and definitely you can specify how many number of records that you want to fetch from that particular batch. Moving to the next very important point, Apex cursors are fully serializable. Serializable means you can go and convert the output of the Apex cursor in the form of a string, and then you can go and store that particular string as well. What I mean from that here is whenever you use the database.getCursor, you can see that whenever I'm using the database.getCursor and let's say I'm executing this query, I will get the output something in this form, which is in a form of a string. Now you can store this string for the future purpose as well. Now whatever the cursor that you will be creating, right, that cursor will be available for next 2 days. I will talk about all those limitations down the line, right? But one key advantage here is you do not have to go and create the new cursor again and again, because whenever you are dealing with the cursor, again there are also some governor limits that you have to be aware of, and as I said, I will be talking about this governor limit in a minute. But one of the important thing that you have to remember here is to avoid this governor limit, you can go and store the cursor output. The advantage by storing here is you can go and reuse that particular cursor in case you have to go and fetch the record without creating the new cursors again and again. Right, later you can go and retrieve that stored cursor and reuse it. For example, like you can see in this another line, whatever the cursor that I do have, I am using that cursor and then I am fetching that record one more time. This is something I am retrieving the cursor and fetching my records based on that cursor as well. I will show you in the hands-on how we can get this done, but this is something very powerful feature of the Apex cursor, that you can go and store the query ID and you can reuse it again rather than you go and create the new cursor, because we do have some key limits, how for example how many cursors that you can create in a day, and that's where this feature will be very helpful. Now coming up to the key limits that you have to be aware about whenever you are working on the cursor. The first key limit here is you can retrieve maximum up to 50 million records in one single transaction whenever you are working on the cursor. And this 50 million transaction, it is same for the synchronous as well as the asynchronous. Moreover, within a day you can retrieve up to 100 million per day records whenever you are working on the Apex cursor. That means a single cursor can return up to 50 million records in one day. Across all the cursor combined, you can retrieve up to 100 million records. For example, if one cursor retrieves the 50 million record, you can create another cursor that can retrieve up to 50 million more, but you cannot exceed the 100 million daily limit, and these limits are the current as of day. Again, it might change in the future as well, so you have to keep track of the Salesforce documentation in case there is any change in the limit. Now, when this cursor will be created, this cursor will be created as soon as you are calling a get cursor method, as I shown you here, right? Whenever you are calling a get cursor method, a new cursor will be created, and we can have the maximum 10,000 cursors created per day. So you cannot create more than 10,000 cursors in a one single day. This is another key limit that you have to keep in mind. As soon as you are calling the get cursor method, your cursor will be created, and that's why the feature that I have shown you, you can convert that cursor into the form of serializable and you can get that cursor stored right? That's where you can go and reuse the same cursor rather than creating the new cursor every time. Now, another very important limit that you have to keep in mind, that maximum fetch calls that you can have here is the 10 per transaction. So there is another limit where you have to define the number of fetch calls that you can make within a single transaction, and the answer here is 10. Since the cursor are reusable across the transaction, you have to structure your logic to distribute fetch calls across multiple transactions if needed, while still staying within the 10 fetch calls per transaction limit. This fetch 10 calls, this is again per transaction. So in one single transaction, you can write down or execute the fetch method maximum 10 times. I hope this limits do make sense to you. So whenever you are using the Apex cursor, always have these key limits within yourself. Few of the use cases where you can go and use the Apex cursor. We all know that with a SQL query, we do have an offset limit of 2000. In case you want to get rid of this offset limit and wants to fetch the record more than 2000 for the pagination purpose, you can use the Apex cursor. I will show you the implementation of this in the next video. Next one here is you can segment the processing of the large cursor result across the multiple batches. For example, you want to set up an alternative to the batch Apex with the additional features like the customizable scope, and you want to navigate forward and backward in a result set. Again, you can go and use the Apex cursor there as well. I will create a separate video where I will show you how you can use the Apex cursors in the queuable Apex as well. Now, there are few frequently asked questions related to the Apex cursor that I want you to take before we close the video. For first question here is, does reusing the same customer ID count towards a 100 million daily limit? We discussed that maximum number of records that we can fetch from the cursor here is the 100 million. Right now, the question here is, if I am using the same cursor ID, I'm not generating the new cursor ID. Let's say I have generated one cursor ID. I have stored that cursor ID somewhere, for example, either in the database or in the custom settings or in the cache. And I'm using the same cursor ID again and again. Whether still I hit the 100 million daily limit? The answer to this is no. The 100 million records is calculated when the cursor is created for the first time. Whenever you are using the get cursor method, that time only Salesforce will figure it out how many number of records that needs to be fetched from that cursor, right? So calling fetch method does not count towards your 100 million record limit. However, you have to remember the limitation with the fetch, that you can maximum call the fetch method 10 times in one single transaction. But your 100 million daily limit does not count whenever you are using the same cursor again and again. Next question here is, what will happen if the records are deleted when between the cursor creation and the cursor has been fetched? Again, very common question. For example, I have created the cursor, I have stored the cursor, for example, in the cache, and as I discussed, whatever the cursor that you will be creating, it will be valid for next 2 days. Now, in between this time, between I go and fetch those records, let's say few of the records has been added, few of the records has been updated, few of the records has been deleted. What will happen in that scenario? So Salesforce documentation clearly says that in the case of update, you will always get the updated values when you call the fetch. So you will have the always the updated result. In the case of deletion, the record will no longer be returned. In the case of addition, now this is something interesting, right? In the case of addition, that record will not be available, because when the cursor has been created and those records has been fetched, Salesforce will not have the record ID, because typically what cursor do here is it typically behaves like a pointer to that record ID. So when your cursor was created, as that record was not available that time, so that record will not be returned. But in the case of updation and the deletion, it will always works with the more real-time data. Now, what are the main limits that you want to remember? Number one, 50 million records per cursor. Number two, 100 million records per day across all the cursor. Number three, 10,000 cursors can be created per day. Number four, 10 fetch calls per transaction. And last, cursor is valid for 2 days. These are the 5 key limits that you should be remembering whenever you are working on the Apex cursor. I hope the basics related to the Apex cursors has been cleared with this video. Now in the next video, I will show you how you can implement the pagination with the help of the Apex cursor.